Everything's great?
And
You
a
on,
chair.
brother?
Yep.
I'm trying to not make.
All right, hey,
and
welcome,
catch it.
glad you're here. Welcome to Journey. We're just a couple minutes late here, but we're going to begin. We're going to raise a hallelujah. Amen?
Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah. looking for answers. Turn hearts to you. I pray the church rises up and shines your hope to the hopeless ones. Yes. Shine, Jesus. Hallelujah. Shine, Jesus. Shine through your people. Shine, Jesus, shine. Shine, Jesus, shine. fight with weapons of love. We fight with weapons of truth. We fight with weapons of compassion and mercy and forgiveness. Those are the weapons that we have.
That's good. All right. Well, good morning.
You're on.
Good morning.
Welcome. It was great to have virtual church, but we need to be in a live body church. I mean, virtual is nice, you know, we could see each other on a screen, but here we can, you know, greet each other. And, you know, we'll just welcome to everybody, and thank you for watching. If you're on Facebook there, share the link. You know, you can just copy, paste it, send it out, and we'll get more viewers, and, you know, hopefully we'll bring everybody closer to God. That's our goal, is to love each other and love God. It's about relationship with Him and with each other. So as we continue to worship, let's just bless the Lord and be thankful for where we're at. Things could be worse, but with God, it's always better.
Amen. Amen.
Great is the
several weeks ago, I heard there's one thing that will never take energy away from us. I'm sure there's probably more than one thing. And it struck me. It says surrender doesn't take energy away from me. Surrender. And I thought about it. I said, wow, you know what? If you don't want anything to take, that's just letting go. Surrendering to God, all of a sudden, there's less stress. Among other things, we're going to talk about stress a little bit today. Because these times that we're living are stressful.
Amen.
They are. But you know what? If we don't have any stress or challenge or resistance, birds can't fly, planes can't fly, nothing. You got to have a little resistance to rise. But if there's too much resistance, the nose starts going down. We gotta have some controls. If we don't have some control, self-control, financial controls, we gotta have some controls. If you don't have some controls, but with that we need support. If we don't have enough support and not enough controls and a lot of challenge and resistance, that's what's going on in this. That's what's going on somewhat in this country. There's not as much, there's not support. Where do people get their support from? They're pulling their hair out. God, you're gotten a hold of the people. Draw them to you. Let the church rise up. Lord, it was you.
Lord,
They're all excited. The people are excited that they've been cut off from slavery. And they walk and they meet the Red Sea, and all of a sudden they hear the horses. And they look off in the distance and see Pharaoh and his army ready to kill them. And they're looking at Moses, you brought us out here to die. Moses was right up and said, over the sea, just stand and see the salvation of God. All of a sudden the sea opens up. It says they walked on dry ground. Can you imagine? That sea's been sitting in that bed for how long, but it was dry when they walked on it. And they walked through that thing. Well, the Egyptian army never saw anything like it. Well, it was good enough for them, it was good enough for us. They followed them right out in there, and the sea swallowed them all up. Oh my goodness. Israelites made it safe to the other side. God makes a way where there's no way. He makes a way where there's no way. He can raise Jesus from the dead. He can make Sarah, who was beyond the point of having a child, have a child. You can create something out of that. There is hope. When all your hope is gone, there's always hope in Christ. Hope. we sing that? It's just you and me. Get really quiet. Be quiet in your spirit. Just you and me here now. Only you and me here now. Just you and me. Open your heart to Him. Only you and me here now. Talk to Him. Just you and me here now. Only you and me here now. Share the concerns of your heart. Just you and me here now. Only you and me here now. It's just you and me here now. Only you and me here now. It's just you and me here now. Only you and me here now. Just you in worship. Only Lord, only you, Lord. Just you in bow down. For you and me here now, Lord. I will worship you, Lord. Only you, Lord.
Take all my heart, take all my fears, take all my frets. That's release. That's giving to God. Let Him shoulder it. Our shoulders are not big enough to handle that with everyday life. And then I like what it says, it's just you and me here now. That's a relationship with God. And being one-to-one with Him, alone with Him, no distractions. Because when we're in a relationship with people, we tend to have distractions most of the time. But to be really focused on that other person, we need to be focused on them without all the outside influences. So when we want to be with God, let's really be with Him. You know, He's already with us, no doubt about it. So no matter how much time or little time we spend with Him, He's always going to be there. So let's just continue to, be with Him. He already dwells in us. Let's just let Him go even deeper. That's what our love for Him is, to go deeper. Because He's already in our life, so let's expand on that. So we'll transition, let Ron begin his message about stress and what else is associated with that.
Real hope. The only thing that will keep you going from going under is real hope. Amen. Well, Father, I open my heart to you. Speak to me, speak through me. Thank you for the people that are here this morning, on location, not just online, but also thank you for the people that are on the way. That's for sure. good to have a place to come. Whether it's in person or online, you're everywhere. And I ask you to speak to our hearts. Fill my mouth. Let us enjoy your presence. We open the very control area of our life and we ask you to tinker around and make adjustments. You need to take out some parts and put some new ones in. Do what you got to do to make us the kind of persons you want us to be. In Jesus' name, amen. Been on a series here. Advance me. You know how to advance me?
Here. Your head. There you go.
What's going on? Better get out of here. I don't know.
Please stand by.
Oh my goodness. We better close this out.
I'd rather have these glitches together as a group than have them online as a group. It's just, that was
We're all in
so,
it together.
this is so wonderful.
Put this down.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
he's
really
out there.
like this. This is so nice, better than what we had here.
It was a sweet worship this morning.
That was fun.
It was.
I haven't played for 8 weeks.
Yeah,
It was so easy.
Sounds good.
My feet was just burning up.
Plugged in. Yeah, you got advanced. This isn't working for whatever reason. It was working. All right, well, you got to do it. I'm back again, folks. We're trying. It's this is the first time back here. We've never broadcast here from the location on Bakery. This is our passage. Let's read it together. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Okay, now I want you to get to somebody. I want you to speak this into them. You might have to sort of, well, you know, if you want to, or just turn to the person next to you and say, may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Can you, no, don't go back, brother. I didn't advance you. Go back. There we go. Follow me.
Okay,
All right, thanks.
I'm watching you.
We'll probably have to do that from a different computer next time. My computer, I know, works on this.
Okay.
For whatever reason, there's a glitch there. That's just the way it is.
Oh, he isn't even the third.
May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him. I mean, this is like a fantastic passage. I mean, can you imagine this passage? If, forget about the world getting a hold of it. How about the Christians get a hold of this? I mean, we can wish it all in the world. Can you imagine if all Christians would get this? Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's an unstoppable force. The God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him. The biggest problem that we have in there is, the only thing that we have in there that we have to do is what?
Trust in him.
Trust in Him. That's the only thing that's there. Everything has to do with trust. Isn't that the heart of every relationship? No donuts today.
Bakery's closed. Yeah, we
Come on
have.
and join us for church.
Seats.
Trusting. Trusting is a huge deal, isn't it? Isn't that the huge deal? Isn't that the heart of every relationship? Think about Think about the relationships that are not working. Think of the relationships that are strained. Where's the trust levels? Think of the relationships that you don't have a real rapport with. Where's the trust level? If the trust level is where it needs to be, things flow. Isn't that right? That's the way it is with God. We think God's like everybody else. I can't trust Him. I never could trust anybody. And we lay that on God as if He don't know. I think on our minds we know, but to get that down into our hearts and our wills and our emotions, that's a huge deal. Hope. This is what we need in this day and age, is hope. The bakery's open, but it's very different, isn't it? I mean, we meet the bakeries. We have different bread on Sunday morning. Bread from heaven. They got bread. They got the normal bread. The other
Don't
day.
say that, we don't have any bread, so don't go advertising that.
Well, no, they have bread. They have bread in the form of donuts, and cakes, and all that kind of stuff.
Somebody else is gonna have to
Yeah,
make
they have
that
different
bread.
types, but
Greenfield bread.
But I use bread as a metaphor.
Never.
I understand that. I just want to make sure they know. They do.
You never know. You never know. Maybe God wishes you make bread. But anyway, that's all I'm
Make
You just don't know how things are going to
Make
turn.
toast.
Yeah, we do make donut bread.
And it is very good.
I believe that.
I'd like to have some. Cinnamon buns will do it.
Hope.
We'll do it
Boy.
next week.
That's so huge. And we've been talking the last several weeks. It should be online on Facebook. If you continue to go down on Facebook, you'll see the whole series there. You can advance it. Hope needs a solid foundation. Hope alone is not a very good. Hope for the best. Just hope for the best.
I don't have that. I don't have that frame.
No, you have the whole frame. You can't. Yeah. You got, just hope for the best. Well, hope just doesn't work. You know that. Hope is not a strategy on how to get things done. Well, I hope the house gets built. I hope the bills get paid. Hope isn't going to make the bills get paid, right? We need more than hope. We need a strategy. And this is our strategy. In order to have hope alive in us, our batteries need recharged. We need connected to the power source, which is Jesus. Number 2, raise your expectations. How many know that sometimes we have such low expectations and low faith that nothing can happen? Our expectations and faith level is so low that little takes place. Well, how many of you believe this? How many believe this one? If I start hoping, I'm just going to get hurt again. Huh? That means you've got hurts. It's not about the present. Right there, it's about the past. That's an indicator that it's about the past. Number 3, this is about the past. Refocus on the future. It's time to throw away your rear view mirror. No one goes forward well when they're looking backward. We've been preaching about all these things. Number 4, play to your strengths. Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. You got to be you. How many of you know you live a pretty hopeless life? if you're trying to live through somebody else, be someone you're not. Oh my goodness. You can never attain to that. But how about this? Nobody can be like you. There's a thought. We just got to figure out exactly how that fits and who the we really are, the best version of us. And this week, refuse to go it alone. Never underestimate the power of support. We can't do this alone, can we? We need help. I need a lot of help. Hang around me, you'll figure it out. I need help. You need help. Turn to your neighbor and say, you need help.
You need help. You need that.
And now turn to him and say, I need help.
I need that. Amen.
The real question that you'll need to ask yourself, am I open? Am I truly open for support? Am I truly open for help on the deepest levels? We wonder why there's no breakthrough. The issues that we have are like that. Benita and I, in one of the places we lived, we had an old piano. One of those old uprights. Woo, I tell you what, them are heavy. How many know that you need help to move one of them?
Oh,
Have
yeah.
you figured that one out?
We did.
Oh, I
Until you
need-
tried.
Oh, we needed help.
Well, leave it behind the last one.
We needed help.
Antique avocado breed.
So lift that thing up, to get it up any steps. I mean, I don't know. Most places have a little step. I don't care what kind of house you live in. It's odd not to have any step unless you have some sort of ramping. Because there's at least one or two, but there's some kind of step that has to go somewhere. Whew! Tell you what, we need help for the heavy things in life. You got any heavy things in your life? I've got heavy things in my life. I need help. We need some heavy lifting. But in order to do that, how many know this? I only want help the way I want it, though. How's that working for you? That don't work that well, does it? I only want help the way I want it and the way I want it. I don't need help in this area. I need help in this area, but I want you to do it just like this. Probably need help in our attitudes first. Let me understand this one. Whew. Okay, let's keep going. The next, this won't be, this could be a two-part one on the 5 one. 6, focus on what God's calling you to do. Burning the candle at both ends isn't as bright as you think. Some of us think we're called in every area of life, and we're doing too much. We need to delegate. We need to either delegate or drop things. Some things in our life we just need to drop. And then there are things that we do, the 3 Ds, right? We need to delegate, drop, or do. That's for sure. Okay, let's keep going. 7, play great defense. And then I have some toxic hope killers that we're going to get into. There are things that will kill hope that you got to get out of your life. And we'll talk about that. Back to today's, which is refuse to go it alone. Next slide. Here's a passage from Ecclesiastes. Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. I see Benita and I, that was our verse when we got married. That was it. Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. That's if coming together is that your job is actually to help your spouse. Instead of, I'm getting married so that they'll help me. If people come together, the reason that I'm in your life is to lift you up. Not the reason I'm in your life is to suck whatever out of you. It's a powerful passage. Pity anyone who falls and has no one to help. Now, some things we can just get up and quit moaning. We moan about the littlest things. We don't need help in some of the littlest things. We don't need to moan. My mother told me the story many years ago about the time where I was, I think, riding, I don't know what it was, tricycle or something, bicycle, little bicycle. I was just learning to ride, right? I toppled and fell right down on the walk, skinned my knee. She saw it from the window. She looked out. And she saw me looking around to see if anybody saw me because I was ready to cry. I mean, since nobody saw me, I didn't cry. If that is not life, we look around to see if someone's around, because if someone's around, then we'll cry and moan. But if nobody's around, we just deal with it. Lots of things we just need to deal with instead of moaning on each other, crying on each other, whining on each other. How many got the gift of whine? The gift of complaining. Oh my goodness. They ain't spiritual gifts. Cut them off. That's not of the spirit. That's of the flesh. We want to be heard. And you know, there's the deep things in our life we do need to get out. There's a lot of things that we have let bother us and take us down to the weird levels. We need to cut those out. But someone who truly falls and doesn't have anybody with them. Billy Graham said while he was alive, one of the most pervasive problems in America today is loneliness. People are alone. I mean, these crowds that are going on in all these cities, do these people know each other? I think the vast majority of people don't know each other. They have a general feeling. I mean, they've been cooped up from this pandemic. They were right. Many people were a time bomb ready to go off anyway, I think.
Yeah.
People have been cooped up, and it was the straw that broke the camel's back to see them knee on Mr. Floyd, right? Oh my goodness. And then, it bothered me emotionally to see not them protesting, but destroying things. That bugged me emotionally. I mean, I got tears in my eyes. This is like, wow, what's going on? unfortunately, that kind of response makes the pain even deeper, I think, unfortunately. I don't know what to say about it. People have lost hope. People haven't been heard. People don't have support. That's what's going on. Next screen. There's a combination of things here.
Video?
Oh, video.
My dad told me that I need to get married, to have a baby, and live happily ever after. That didn't really happen. My dad told me that I need to get married, have a baby, and live happily ever after. That didn't really happen. At age 3.5, I was diagnosed with cancer. I went through chemotherapy, radiation, and even surgery. When I was 23, I started having problems female-wise, and I went to see a gynecologist, and he told me that I was sterile, that I wasn't going to be able to have any kids on my own. You're supposed to be a woman who grows up, gets married, and have babies. And when I was 28, I met my husband, decided to get married. We talked about kids. We decided that infertility treatment would be the way to go about it. Got pregnant. I finally had succeeded at fulfilling dreams that were really set on me by my parents. We were about 4 months pregnant. I went to work one day. Wasn't feeling so well. Having some contractions. I heard other people say they're Braxton Hicks. 24 hours later, I went in to go to the restroom, and I heard this big splash of water. And before I knew what happened, I had delivered Andrew in the toilet. I was sitting there thinking, oh my God, what do I do? I have no idea what to do. And so I said, David, you gotta call 911. The male EMT crouched down beside me in front of me and told me that Andrew was too little, and because I had him at home, he didn't have a trach that was small enough to put down his throat to keep him breathing. So he told us we had to let him die. How do you let your baby die? You're supposed to save him. You're supposed to be his protector. And I couldn't do anything to save him. Now we're laying here with a baby in my arms, and all I wanted to do was breathe life back into him. I didn't really want anything to do with God, and I spent 5 years being angry at God. It was in the process of those 5 years that God started showing me the process that He put me through had a reason. We looked at the idea of adoption. That adoption came about quicker than we thought. I prayed to God that I wouldn't have a boy. And I got a boy. The day Ethan was born and they brought him into the room, I picked him up and I unwrapped him and I looked at his toes and fingers and knew that it was okay. Since that point of letting go and letting God take over, we've been able to not only adopt Ethan, but we have another son who's 12. One of the ways that God's used my story is, and we were asked to lead a group called Grief Share. I think that has helped me even more to move on with life and go, okay, why should I hide my story? I think sharing my story helps me connect to other people, but other people connect to me.
Remember that? Can you imagine? She couldn't have a child, and then she could have a child, and she had a child, the child died. And she was mad at God. She didn't feel supported. She didn't know what to do. She worked through her hurts. They got to adopted babies. And one thing that's helped her more than any is not to focus on herself, but to help others. To be a support to others. All of a sudden, it helped her out. It gave meaning to her pain. If your pain actually can be used to help others, it gives meaning to that pain that you have. And she said that probably has helped me more than anything. You know, it does help. I've asked different people before, hey, do you want to preach? Because standing up here, you got to work through things before you give it out. If you're going to teach, you got to work it through, or else it's a shame. It forces, encourages. Work it through if you have a ministry. If you don't have a ministry, because that's the one after this. You got to find your ministry. If you don't have a ministry, hope is diminished in your life, because you're not really pouring Christ out into anybody else. In order to pour Christ into someone else, that means you have hope. Isn't that true? Oh my goodness, that's true. Next screen, brother. All of us have stress. Anyone who wants to get rid of stress doesn't understand it. A stress-free life is not an option. Okay, turn to your neighbor. A stress-free life is not an option.
Not an option.
A stress-free life is not an option. And come on now. As it says right here, not having stress means you're dead. If you don't have any stress, that means you're not living. However, there is good stress and bad stress, healthy stress and destructive stress. There is, you can go online, I looked at it. There are tests that you could take about stress. Like if there's a death in your family, it equals a certain number. If you've changed jobs, that means a certain number. If you've had a surgery, it's a certain number. If you've had a new job and you like it, it's a certain number. If you've lost a friend, it's a certain number. I don't know, if you don't go to church and go to church online, it's probably a certain number. I don't know what it is. It's probably not listed on there. But you know, everything equals some sort of stress. It presses on us. It presses on us. Different, and then it said, then you add up all these, and it will tell you, even if it's good stress, the number that you may have means it's going to equal a lot of problems in life if you don't handle the stress. Next screen. Healthy stress requires we have 3 elements in adequate balance. We need to have the challenges in life in balance. If we have no challenge, if we have no resistance, we'll never grow. Isn't that correct? There was a space flight yesterday.
Yeah.
First one in 10 years. It was through private industry. Been to Cape Canaveral, some of you here have also been there. It was a beautiful thing to see, because I wasn't there obviously, but I saw it on TV. But it's a beautiful thing to see. In 1982, 2 Soviet cosmonauts broke a record by spending 211 days in space. That was a big deal. Television cameras prepared for the 2 guys to return. A band waited to wave flags and lead the triumphant parade celebrating the accomplishment. The door opened, the band played, the people cheered, the television camera zoomed in. Nothing happened. You know why? They were weak for months of inactivity. The cosmonauts were unable to stand up. Their muscles went to mush. Zero gravity living had deteriorated the muscles to the point where they had to be carried from their seats. They broke endurance records but could not stand or walk for months because their hearts were no longer strong enough to pump blood even 12 inches to their brains. So in response, the Soviets invented what they called a penguin suit, which is basically an athletic suit laced with rubber bands that cause constant resistance. And by wearing that suit, muscles continued to develop and were spared from atrophy. If we do not have any stress, how many know this? You go downhill. If you don't have something where you're producing, giving, doing something, physically, as a believer, in all sorts of ways, it's not going to work. It just won't work. A vacation may be good. You can have a holiday, a hollow week, but a hollow life is a hollow life. It's a nothing life. It goes nowhere. There's no resistance anymore. We need controls. If we don't have some sort of form of control, if we're out, if we don't have some sort of form of control, we are, I don't know what to say. We're like a bat out of hell. I mean, it goes all over the place. You got to have some control. That's like the steering wheel. You got to be able to keep it between the lines, or else it's a wreck. You got to keep it between the lines. Next screen, Dave. Challenges are essential. Anybody who is being challenged or stretched is probably deteriorating and dying. This is a delivery person, and he's got his mask and he's got his stuff on, and I bet his life changed in so many different ways. We got to have some sort of stress and challenge in life. No challenge, you turn to mush. Okay, next slide. Next slide. Keep going. Everyone needs some control. Without financial controls, schedule controls, discipline, or focus, we end up too stressed and in trouble. For God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and self-control. We got to have controls. So you got to have challenge. You need some control. But if you don't have support, it may be overwhelming. Next slide. Keep going, brother. This is Ray Johnson. I like it. He says, I long for a zero-gravity life with no problems, no resistance, no challenges, and no stress. I've heard people that way. I'm just looking for no stress life. I'm just looking for zero-challenge life. But God knows better. He knows that we need some resistance and some challenges, because the easier our lives are, the weaker our spiritual muscles will become. Without resistance or challenge, we will never fly or grow. Amen? It's not going to happen. And I would just put a note on that. Don't try challenge yourself. Ask God, who are you calling me to? Because it will be the best thing. Keep going, brother. Helen Keller, and we know her challenges, right? Couldn't see. Walking with a friend in the dark is better than walking alone in the light. Walking with a friend in the dark is better than walking alone in the light. Wow. What's she saying?
There's a friend.
What's she trying to say there? If you're alone, you're in the dark. That's what she's trying to say. If you're alone, if you don't have support, she could never turn the lights on, but she knew just because you have the lights on, you could have a terrible life. Next slide. This is a slogan from Bayside Church: join a group or die. How do you like that? Join a group or die. Either get support or it's not going to work for you. Either get support or you're going to shrivel up and die. And just because you join a group, it doesn't mean you get support. Because you can join a group and be alone. Not unless we open up. This is just keep it right here, Dave. This is from Rabbi Harold Kushner. He says, I was sitting on a beach one summer day, watching two children, a boy and a girl, playing in the sand. They were hard at work building an elaborate sand castle by the water's edge. With gates and towers and moats and internal passages. Just when they had nearly finished their project, a big wave came along and knocked it down, reduced it to a heap of wet sand. I expected the children to burst into tears, devastated by what had happened to all their hard work. But they surprised me. Instead, they ran up the shore, away from the water, laughing and holding hands, and sat down to build another castle. I realized that they had taught me an important lesson that day. All the things in our lives, all the complicated structures that we spend so much time and energy creating are built on sand. Sooner or later, the wave will come along and knock down what we have worked so hard to build up. When that happens, only the person who has somebody's hand to hold will be able to laugh again. Oh, what a quote! All the things that we've done all our life to build up all these structures and things to make life better, if we got somebody's hand to hold, if we're not alone, we can go on. Oh. When that happens, one person who has somebody's hand to hold will be able to laugh again. Phew. I heard the story of this Fortune 500 CEO. He stopped at a gas station while his wife went inside to pay for the gas. He watched as she had an animated and a pleasant conversation with the man working inside. When she returned to the car, her curious husband asked, "Who are you talking to in there?" "Oh, he was an old boyfriend," she says. "Isn't that unbelievable?" Her husband smiled and said, "Man, I bet you're glad you married me, Fortune 500 CEO, instead of that service station attendant." And she paused and she said, "No, that's not really what I was thinking. I was thinking, you're fortunate that I married you, or he'd be the Fortune 500 CEO, and you'd be the gas station attendant."
What do they say about payback?
What do you think about that? What do you think about that apple? With solid support, relationships are in place. You can go far.
That's as bad as one of
Next slide.
Movie again.
Another.
When I was around 7, my father started beating us kids. When I was around 7, my father started beating us kids with a stick. My mother was verbally abusive, and growing up was more a time to be survived and endured than lived, which allowed alcohol use and drug use in high school to start growing. When it came to Father God, the only way I could understand him was through the lens of my earthly father. My whole life was spent medicating from those wounds, and that led up to a pornography addiction that ended in a massage parlor visit, and finally I ended up confessing everything to my wife because my life was not going to change. It was then that God started meeting me through reading His Word. God's forgiveness was infinite. To the last day of my life, I still had an opportunity. I ended up getting a degree in mechanical engineering, and finally ended up in the steel construction business. And at this stage in my life, what I wanted was a different story. I didn't want the story to be about me as this great sinner and then being forgiven. I wanted to pay back on the enemy for what I had endured. And it started coming to me that helping others who have experienced some of the same pain, addiction. So people need help transitioning out of jail and out of their addictions. They need mentors, they need good places to work, and they just need someone to come beside them along that walk.
Before coming to Summit, I never had a job. I was fresh out of prison, and I was pretty much confused about which way to go as far as a career or life in general. Not quite ready to, I guess conform to the standards of society's normal way of thinking. I caught a couple violations. I wasn't working out, I wasn't reliable, but for some reason, Pete saw something in me. It feels great because, when you stumble, there's somebody to help you, stand back up. It makes me want to wake up in the morning and come to work because I know, that there's something there for me.
Went in and out of jail, in and out of detox programs. The struggle with addiction and just behavioral problems. I didn't know my direction in life, and my identity. Pete has not only been an awesome employer, but a mentor as well. He's given me a chance to gain responsibility as an employee. He empowers his employees, and he brings the full potential out of all of them.
Yeah, and dealing with rejection in my life, not having a father figure, Peter kind of helped me with that. And he went ahead and gave me a second chance and an opportunity to change my life around, which no one else would be doing for me. Well, when somebody gives me that opportunity after so many years of struggling and being on the streets and what have you, trust issues are a big factor, and it's meant a lot to me as a human being, as a father, as a brother.
We invite men into a larger story than the one that they've grown up with. The story that they've grown up with is one with very limited opportunities in life. I think all the ministry that we do is about inviting men to join us, to lead small groups, to help others who've been struggling with the same thing that they've overcome. My job is to extend God's rule and reign down here in this place, and that is what I live for. I live for changing the world where I can have an effect, using the things that almost killed me, almost destroyed my marriage and my family, and help other men find the same life that I've got to live, that life to the full Jesus talked about.
What a great story. What a great story. Powerful. Giving support to a lot of guys who never had support, never felt support. But that's how it continues. We get help, and we help others. And as we pour out and help others, we get more help. I like this quote by Larry Crabb. core battle in everyone's life is to relate well to God, to worship Him. The core battle in everyone's life is to relate well to God. What does it look like to relate? That's a battle. Because at the core, we kind of want to do what we want to do. That's our issues. How many understand this? At the core, many of us, we want to do what we want to do. Our battle is to relate well to God, to worship Him, not what we want to worship or where we want to go, or what we want. To enjoy Him. There's a thought. We don't have to do anything with God. We get to enjoy Him. To experience His presence, to hear His voice, to trust Him in everything, to always call Him good, to obey His every command, even the hard ones, and hope in Him when He seems to disappear, to put our hope in Him when He... That's the battle the community of God is called to enter in each other's lives. That's the battle I cannot win alone. I need a community that is waging the same war that includes me in the fight. Oh, isn't that it? Wow. Next screen. Next week, 5 relationships that we all need. We're going to get into the 5 different kinds of relationships that we all need. All right, brother. Keep going all the way down. All the way down. Yeah. This is where we're at. This is what we're doing. This is all about hope. Different ones of these fit us. Different ones of the 7 fit us. Some fit us really well. Some, I don't have as much an issue with that one. But I've never heard anybody say, I got too much support. That's my issue. Let's go back to our passage again. Let's say it together. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Let's say, may the God of hope fill me with all joy and peace as I overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. As I trust in you by the power of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Father, I ask that you humble us and help us to become vulnerable. Some of the things we're trying to carry in life are too much for us. We either are having too much pressure, too much stress, too many challenges, and we have too little control. And because of that, we need more support. Or some of us don't have enough challenges. And we're control freaks, and we need more support. Humble us, that we would become vulnerable and ask. Ask for help from your people. That we would come to you, Lord, and humble ourselves. And quit fighting you and submit to you. Thank you, everybody. Next week, 5 relationships that we need. Have a wonderful night.
One thing about the relationships and the stress is, I thought about a football team. You know, on a football team, there's going to be a fumble or an interception, okay? And after that happens, you know, do you ever see the players walk off the field, leave the guy alone? No. They stay on the field and they set a new course, a new direction, new plan. They regroup and come together with a new strategy. So they aren't going to leave the guy alone, you know. And I think that's a lot that happens in marriages too. You know, both the husband and wife, they both want to be quarterback. They want to call the plays, call the shots. You know, it's their game. They want to be the one that, you know, is in the center spotlight. But even in our relationships and marriages, we both people have to, or everyone involved, if it's outside of marriage, needs to adapt and adjust to the role. Sometimes you can't be quarterback. Sometimes you got to be the running back, or you got to block. You know, because people are going to come against you, so you have to take and block. You know what they're saying or doing. And I think about my loneliness as I was growing up. I really felt out of place in my family. My mother spoiled my sister, and I felt it. And I felt like the saying goes, a fifth wheel on a cart. I was just going along for the ride. You know, I served no purpose. And it was years later, after she retired, she moved back here and she couldn't drive. I was taking her places, and just out of the blue, she apologized to me for how she treated me. And she come out and she said that she had treated my sister better because she felt she'd be the one to take care of her when she reached that point in her life. And she had this preconception in her mind growing up like that. But you know what had happened in my heart was I never think about it, because in that point of life it was a role reversal. I became the parent while she was a child. So, and for her to apologize, it meant a lot, but I'd already forgiven her. I never thought about it. It wasn't an issue for me anymore. And it felt good, but it wasn't needed. I didn't expect it, but I appreciate it. I've always remembered that moment. We were in the car and she just come out and said out of the blue. And it meant a lot. So I was stunned, because she was normally not very deep, you know, in speaking like that, you know, apologizing. So, but you know, and of course too, when you're lonely, people adapt and adjust to their environment. I kind of think like if you live up in Alaska and you're just out there, you know, you adapt to the weather, you adapt to not being around people, but yet God doesn't want us to adapt to loneliness. I mean, even when we feel we're alone, He's with us already, regardless.
I think it's the core.
Where we're at. And and I think too about the scenario, you know, support was the spinning plates. You know, we're trying to spin so many plates by ourselves. We need a support system. We need people, you know, for the challenges. It's a challenge to keep all the plates spinning, you know, and trying to control them, and then, you know, support them. I mean, you don't want them falling. So it's good to incorporate other people, the body, your family, you know, the ones that are willing to help you keep them plates spinning. Because, you know, it's a challenge. It can be.
Some of them maybe need to drop.
Yeah, there's some plates that do need to drop. We need to prioritize which plates are important to keep spinning. Most of them probably aren't, but so. And two, I think just the other day here, I had a physical, and I had to go back for my blood work. So of course you have to fast, which I didn't do that the first time. So I thought, okay, I'll do it. So Thursday, I had my lunch on Thursday. I didn't have anything all day Friday to eat, and so I went almost 29 hours, and you know, with nothing to eat. And your focus changes when your stress level is different. And so mine was on food. You know, I was hungry. I get hungry. I had to work, and I'm trying to focus on work, but my stomach is wanting to focus on food. My mind is there too. So you know, when you've got there's different elements coming in, a bunch of different elements, it's hard to stay focused, and the stress builds up, and you feel alone, you know, and you're just complaining, and you know, it's like, you know, I just couldn't wait. I went about 29 hours without food. Now I was water, and it was like, man, that's a stretch. But You know, and how long have you gone without God in your life? Think about that. I mean, but you get hungry for Him. I mean, what's the longest? And then all of a sudden you're just like, you can't go any further. And you want Him, that appetite for Him and that relationship with Him. You know, it's the same thing. You know, how long do you go before the pains start taking over, and then you say, I got to get back to you. You know, that's a big one. So I compare the food and God, you know, the duration of going without Him. So, and I know, I admit I've got some OCD issues, you know, obsessive compulsive things, not major, but, you know, I worry about the little things that people don't see. You know, I tend to freak out about making sure things are just perfect, and yeah, you know, and those type of things too, when they work into who you are. I mean, that then also pushes God aside. That gets Him out of the way. He's out of the picture. You're not giving Him the control. You know, we shouldn't be compulsive about all the little things in our life. So, and then too, the other little thing, like, you know, with all of us being cooped up, you know, a haircut. I mean, I was getting stressed out about my hair getting too long, you know, and I just couldn't wait to get it cut. And when I did, it felt so good. I mean, a simple thing is a haircut. I mean, can you imagine that? And it was just awesome. I just could, I thought, man, this is great. And, you know, I felt like I lost some weight. I should have taken a before and after picture to weigh myself, you know. So, but it was great. It was good getting that done. So, well, that's all I have to share. So, any announcements? I know Sel is at Ethan Glenda's, and I think that's anything else you want to share? Offering? No. Go ahead.
This afternoon from 2 to 4, any guy that wants to come over for some brats, you're invited. 2 to 4, we'll have some brats, sit outside, just spend some time together.
Website?
Oh yes, our website, thank you. Journey page, or journeychurch.page, that's correct. Take a visit there and you know, connect with us. You know, and look it over, lots of information, and it's there to help you grow closer to God and grow with each other. Let's pray. Lord, we just thank you for this offering, Lord, for your many blessings of who you are. And Lord, just thank you for this first time back. Lord, I just pray that each time gets better and just draw us closer to you, Lord. And we are going to deal with stress every day and loneliness, Lord. But I just pray that through it all, that we know you'll be with us, Lord. That we'll acknowledge your presence and we'll just give it to you. You know, only you, Lord. You know, take away our frets, and we give that to you, our fears. Humble our hearts, Lord, you know, and make us contrite. Make us have us to bow down before your presence, Lord, and just to give total release to you. It's through you that we can declare freedom and love for each other. In Jesus' name, amen. Go and have a great week. God bless. And we'll see you too. Same station next time.